Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We're ready to go live. No, we are not ready late. We were on the air in Liberia, though we had some technical difficulties in the United States, but we're on the air in Liberia on Radio Bluebird. So it's Saturday morning. Welcome to Second Thought Africa, where we engender to find new idea or new perspective across the continent. Good morning, or almost good afternoon, and welcome to Second Thought for our Saturday edition. Now, Anthony will come right back and we'll continue the conversation. Today, I would like to talk about why young people must lead the change or young people must be the change makers. Why is that? That's what we're going to talk to. Let me pull this up. If you're there, you're joining us, please go ahead and share. I'm going to go ahead and make this public. For some reason, my system does not come on public. It comes on as private. Okay. If all of you see, I'm wearing my Liberian t-shirt. Okay. Where it states, maybe I can pull it and see where it states here. Yeah, it states, I think you guys can read it. I am, it's in Mandingo, I am Pele, Ku, Mana, Kisi, Pele, Kwan, Passer, Gribble, Gio, Bundy, Va, De, which one is this? Gola, Mandy, Loma. I am a Liberian first, and everything else is second. Welcome again to Second Thought. That's what I am. I am a Liberian first. I've always been, those of you who follow me. My argument had never been about personality. It's about deeds. Ma, pa, uncle, auntie, whoever it is, for me, it's about deeds. And that's what it is. So why should the young people lead? I'm going to start this. In most nations, especially in Africa, during the African independent movement, those who led the charge, who brought up what we call today multi-party democracy myth, okay, they were all young people. Let's just retrospect. And we will bring this to bear on Thursday night, where we have more people to bring different perspective. Anthony, are you still playing the video back home? Anthony? Anthony, can you hear me?
Oh,
I didn't have you on. I was thinking, were you still playing the video with the attorney and I? Are you still playing it?
No, I just got you off when you
Okay,
said when we started.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna just chronicle to you a few things. If you go to Cuba, the man who brought in the most change, who had the most attentive coup on his life, was Fidel Castro. He was in his 20s when he started his own movement. In fact, he started in high school until he got his law degree, and got a law degree very early on, and he had to escape the country and come back. Now, let's go to Kwame Nkrumah. He started in his 20s, both in Europe, advocating. By 37, he helped to gain independence. He became the prime minister at 47 in 1957 in Ghana. Okay. Patrice Lumumba, Congo, founded the Congolese national movement at 33, became the prime minister at 34. Okay. Standing up for his country. Julius Nyerere, Tanzania, founded Tanganyika Africa National Union, the TINU, at 35, became prime minister at 39. Okay, so what's his name? Patrice Lumumba was the age at which Traore Ibrahim is now when he took over, and his life was cut short, was beaten, lied on, beaten, and taken out of his own country and taken to a foreign country. Okay, and on the live. Not only was he on a live, put into acid water allegedly and dissolved, so a piece of him cannot survive. Okay, then we'll go up. So Nelson Mandela, he started his early 20s because he graduated early from law school, had his own law firm. He was the first black, he had the first black law firm in South Africa. Okay, the first. And he was called to serve his nation, which he did. And by 29, he had founded the ANC Youth League, led the Defiance campaign at 34, imprisoned at 46. Jomo Kenyatta was the oldest of the independence movement. He started in his 30s by 47. And 50, he was in prison. At 69, he became the prime minister and eventually became Amilcar of Guinea-Bissau, started and founded the PHC at 36 and led the liberation movement until his assassination at 48. Thomas Sankara, 33 years old. So he was younger than the young man now. Okay. Now here is why I believe that the young people must be the change makers. You are different. You are from a different generation. Okay. Young people are prudent in risk taking. And not only that, young people, especially in today's environment, young people are the majority of the population. Africa population, about 64% are young people. About 65% of the young people are under the age of 26. They say 24, I would say 26. Okay? Under the age of 26. Okay? Now, let's talk about why. And Anthony, let me bring you, I think I sent you a note earlier. Because you have everything at risk, it's the young people, because the future depends on you. Because your future relies on the decision you make. If you look around you and see that you don't like what is happening, it is your duty to change it. It is your duty. Since I had a young person here internally, I don't know if you can invite one or two of your friends, but I want a woman at platform to join us on the session. Let's talk. Let's hear from the lens of young people, especially in the high school, what they think, what their hope, what their aspiration, what kind of nation do they want to live in? What future do they project? If you can invite young people, I think I would do the same here in the United States. But so, Anthony, since you're a young person, what's your outlook for your country, for the rest of the world? Let's have that conversation with you.
Yeah. So thank you. Even though you're coming in broken, the network is a bit bad, but yeah, you said it right. Young people are to be the change makers. In Liberia, they must be the change makers. But nowadays in Liberia, young people, instead of being change makers, they are becoming changer. They're not doing the right things. Too many of them, majority of the population of young people are not doing the right thing. They are not focused. They are not changing Liberia for the better, but instead, some of them have decided to cause chaos in the country. Some of them are not advocating for education. Some of them, they are not fighting, standing up for themselves, to transform Liberia. Some of them are not they're not up to the task to do better for Liberia.
Continue, we're listening. I think the people can hear you clearer on your side.
For the country. We're going to continue experiencing the same Liberia. We are not going to keep, seeing changes coming that we're not fighting for. In fact, the young people are the one that's supposed to lead after the old, because the old ones, their brain are going weary. They are drowning. And what can they use as a representation of transformation? What can they use as a tool to better Liberia? They are the young people. They can use the young people, but how can they use the young people when the young people are not ready to be used? How can they use the young people when the young people are not prepared to be used? There are too many unprepared young people in Liberia. But every day and night, they want Liberia to get better magically. Every single day and night, they want Liberia to transform. They want to see railways. They want to see skyscrapers. They want to see paved roads. When they are not speaking up for it, when they are not, raising their voices at the leaders, but instead they rely on pocket changes, political handouts, and another thing, that they can eat just for a day, and the next day they look for another one. In Liberia, about 75 to 80% of the young people, they are not determined. Come in Liberia now and see the number of young people that are on the street. They are now on the street because they are not strong. They are on the street because they are not certain about what they want for their country. They are on the street because they are not certain about what they
Wow. That's okay. So hello, please share. Hello. So what first we're gonna set the tune, and Peter, myself, and Paul will talk about this Thursday evening. And if you're out there, you're a young person, we like to have some young people on. We come on late if you're in the diaspora, you're a young person. And the reason this cut my soul today is when I came to this country, I was a young person, barely able to buy drinks, could not buy cigarettes, could not buy liquor. Because there is a law put in place to protect young people in this country. There are also law put in place to protect the future of the young people. That's why when you're young in the United States, unless in certain criminal cases, there are two things that they can charge you with: unruly behavior and delinquents. Okay, in this country. But today I have a headache because I have at least 5 events to go to today. When I came to this country, we used to look for where people would go graduate, because most of the people who came on resettlement that came from the countryside, most of them have formal education. Yeah, I said most. And those who had was not as competitive. Those who were determined decided some would go sit down in GED classes. Some decided, let's say somebody like me. When I entered college, It's not like today where I hear Liberian children on the internet. They're fluent, eloquent, and know what they're talking about. Those that we listen to, at least, but not most of them. Some of them. I would go to school and I would, if I bought me something called, because we are analog electronics, we didn't have digital. Franklin Speaking Dictionary. And I got me an encyclopedia. And I bought me a macro tape recorder. And I would take those to school with me and listen to the teacher lecture, the professor lecture. I will come home, read a book, re-listen to the lecture so I can get or grasp the concept where he's coming from. There are words, jargons, or genre that were being used that I've never heard going to school in Liberia, the word apart. Okay? Now, let me say this. There is saying that goes, Anthony, hopefully the people back home can hear me clear now, okay? That to project the future of a nation, you must see how the current generation of that nation is treated and the position in a society. Yes, Anthony, you're correct. The young people will be in the street. The young people will not know what they're doing. But at least majority of them, of the young people. Because Confucius said, which is he's a philosopher, okay, said the strength of the nation depends on the integrity of the home. The home is not simply the house that you go in and come out in the morning. The home is not simply the place you lay your head. It is your community. It is the society. It is the leaders who are supposed to model good behavior, proper behavior, okay? Because they lead the charge. Now, while the leader while the young people must lead, must be the change maker. Again, I start because the young people have the most at stake. All right? Because it is their future that must be protected. It is their future that they must fight for. It is that, and because today, in today's global environment, if your house does not teach you, you know, that's a saying, man, my dad used to say, oh, get nene do, and do with ma. I get tap ya that woman, let me bear that I need do it up ya. I'm on if we let us talk about with women. It's destiny. It says the child that wants to learn, the child that will listen, even when the neighbor is advising his or her child, that child will take heed. Even if he's passing by and somebody is advising their child, that person will take heed, that child will listen. So now I'm saying to us, we see a young man, I'll list it to you, the young people who have led and been change maker, and put it in your own country. I didn't go outside of the continent. I talk about Narari. I talk about Akazawi. I talked Namdi. I talked about Kwame Nkrumah, Petrus Lumumba. And in our present day, you know, I see our people running around. They want to be, hey, Mo, they want to be on UN Security Council. They want to be on UN Security Council. It does not matter how big you sit on the council. The world does not have respect for you. They don't. And they will never respect you. Your respects come from your home. You see how the world has come to answer one little boy. One little boy that my older child is older than. The world has come to respect and stand. Even children from all over the world. United States, I can tell you, the world know Burkina Faso today that he knows Liberia. I can tell you, the world knows the name of Ibrahim Traoré than they do with Nigeria, the greatest power in Africa, with over 230 million people, with billions and billions and billions in mineral resources. I can tell you that. The young people are rising up from the north to the south, to the east, to the west, across continents, all 6 continents. Because I see I'm in a chat room with bloggers from Nigeria, from Ghana, England, Germany, the very Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and across the world. Ivory Coast, you saw the Ivorian young people there, their president, and took the street on the 30th. If you are busy trying to impress the outside world, but your children have no food, your children don't even know what future they should fight for because they have no food to eat. They don't even know, I have, next week I will have, how many seniors do we have? Let me see, minimum 30 times 20. Give me 1 second. Let me calculate. 30 times 20. We will be putting out, yes, putting out 600, a little over 600 8th graders going to high school. You know what separates that? At least 90% of those children, for now, they know what they want to do. They want what they want to be. They have seen a glimpse of the different career paths. They have gone to visit different sites. They have had scenarios that they practice, okay? Or simulation they've seen, or in their own homes, with their mothers, with their fathers, in their community, or on the jobs. Because on our jobs, at the school, I will tell you, majority of our educators have a minimum advanced degree. Some have 2, some have 3. And if you add their annual professional development, we have engineers, because we teach that in the extra curriculum. You have what we used to call home economics. Okay, I don't know what it's called now. They have different designs that you get into, but besides in a various home, why the young people must be the change maker. Number one, we talk about the population in Africa. Africa is the future. So I come to Liberia. So almost time for us. Oh, did he leave? Okay, I'm here. Guys, we have been on in Liberia longer. Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to continue this conversation on Thursday night. why the young people must lead, must be the change that is so desired. But there are also guiding principles, how the young people, mind you, these young people that we are talking about, that we talk about leadership, they didn't wake up in the morning. Okay. First, we have to create a foundation for the young people. They have to understand what at stake. Okay. They have to understand what at stake. Okay. They have to understand what at stake. But first, we must prepare them. Two, they are the most connected generation in any time in history due to technology. One part of we are going to protest on the 30th. The war stood still. The war answer. I know there are people out here who say, why would Traoré want to leave America and go somewhere else to another white man? Folks, let me say, I'm not a supporter of Russia, but Russia never colonized Africa. They never did. Two, when you are in business relationship with people and that relationship is not beneficially mutual, you have to re-examine where you have a voice at the table. I have product that you want. It doesn't matter if you're white or black. Okay? And that's why when we talk in business, we say that's why our country specialize. The reason our country specialize, because no one country can produce everything that they need. That's why some people focus. In this vein, Africa, the continent, has everything to be a world power, to be superpower. Look at France. France, a little village next door. We are the second largest continent, the most wealthy, if all. The second populated, if at all. Why should we allow people who have no respect for us, people who see us? Just yesterday, in the 70s, an American, in the 1940 something, when Israel resolution was passed, because some of the African nations voted for them, you had a president laughing, where the court to say, I saw those animals in shoes and clothes. They needed to be hung upside down with their tails. Imagine that. Imagine that. Today, the first Black woman at the Library of Congress was fired. She's supposed to be retiring in a few months next year. Was fired. Who earned her space? And the president thinks that woman is a DEI. She didn't earn it. Okay? The young people must learn. If people have lied to you over and over, and lying hurts you, the young people have to learn to be truth teller and stop the lies. The young people must learn to be forthcoming, because the lies have continued to destroy the nation, and destroy even their lives, even their hope. They have to learn to be truth teller. They must learn to stand up and not live for today. But again, the system in Liberia is going in and out. We passed 20 minutes of our time. We'll try to be here for at least an hour and 30 minutes. So when we bring guests on, they have enough time to talk to our people. I'm not going to do 2 hours on Saturday. It's a lot. An hour and 30 minutes is good. So I'm going to get up now. Guys, I want to play this video from Russia. How, thank you for sharing, Cos, how a young man, okay, put himself, and he's being respected. He was not sitting in the back. He was sitting in the front. I saw some picture yesterday of Traoré in the front at the welcoming ceremony in Russia. I saw Traoré being walking in and not being questioned. And when you, if it's like this, you want our resources, but you have no respect for us. You lie to the word and say we are poor, which is not a true statement. Because at the time, you had control of the press. Now it's a new age, it's a new day, it's a new time. It's not happening. So let me say to the young people, if you're home, we also say charity starts from home, right? Begin at home. We who say so, home is not merely where you keep your head. It's more than that. It is more than that. Home is where you are nurtured, where you are shaped, where your character is formed, who you become. The home is our environment. The home is our community. The home is our nation. Those who are supposed to model proper behavior for the young people. Now, I sent out this yesterday. It was talking about during the rise of Adolf Hitler. And I think I'm going to play that and I'm going to leave. Anthony, I'm going to play that. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to keep us here long. You've been over there already for an hour. So let me do this. I will call Peter back. Give me 1 second. I want to play this. All right, I'm going to play this. I have no copyright to this. This is an analysis of, but this, again, viewer discretion is advised. It is an analysis of a philosopher an analyst, you again, it is your responsibility to authenticate the narratives. Okay, we're here to educate, entertain, and promote the future. Now, let me play this. It may not be clear, but I will try to do my best with it.
During World War II. Unlike evil, this force cannot be reasoned with, exposed, or even fought directly. It spreads silently, rendering people blind to truth and immune to logic. That force is stupidity. But why did Bonhoeffer see stupidity as a greater threat than evil? Why did he describe it not just as an intellectual failure, but as a moral and social crisis? In this video, I will break down Bonhoeffer's insights, helping you recognize the signs of stupidity in others, and perhaps even in yourself. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, born in February 1906, was a German Lutheran pastor, neo-Orthodox theologian, anti-Nazi dissident, and resistance fighter. For years, he tried to change minds. He spoke out against growing hatred, blind obedience, and the way people turned a blind eye to the cruelty happening around them. He believed that if he could just make them see, just make them understand, they would wake up. But no matter how much evidence he presented, no matter how clear the truth was, people refused to listen. One evening, after years of resisting the regime, he returned home to find his father waiting for him with a heavy heart. Two men were in his room. They had come to take him away. Locked in a prison cell, Bonhoeffer had nothing but time to think. He had watched his country, once a land of poets and thinkers, descend into a mob of cowards and criminals. He had seen friends, neighbors, even intellectuals surrender their morality, not because they were all evil, but because they had stopped thinking. And then he realized the real enemy wasn't malice. It was stupidity. There were reasons he considered this a greater threat than evil, which I will now discuss. Evil, according to Bonhoeffer, can be confronted. It can be exposed, fought, and even defeated. There is always a way to resist it because at its core, evil knows what it is. Even the worst of people deep down recognize that what they are doing is wrong. This is why evil carries within itself the seed of its own destruction. It leaves behind a sense of unease, a lingering guilt that can be exploited and overturned. But stupidity? Stupidity is immune. Immune to logic, blind to reason, and deaf to truth. It does.
I'm going to stop that. You get that. Anybody want that tip from Bonhoeffer? I can send it to you. And also note, because people got degree does not mean that it cannot be stupid. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It just means they're surrender. They're surrender. Okay? Their sanity. And you can't argue with them. You can't change them. And he said evil can be confronted, can even be changed, but stupidity you can. And stupidity is the greatest threat to any nation. We saw that in Germany. Nazi Germany. Stupidity. And we've seen it around the world. Okay? So, I've been here an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, we have other technical difficulties there in here. I'm going to stop here today. I wanted to discuss the man who has the fake degree in Liberia who have been operating on people. Okay. And what I wrote the other day, but I'm not going to do it today. I have a lot to do today, maybe Monday. But I will be off for summer. We will pick that story up. All right. And what foolish is and stupidity, it's at its core, is that when I made my post, people came on my post, the first thing they asked, that only the vice president you see? That only the person you see? No. No. The reason I'm talking, all right, and folks, on the majority of you, I don't support people because they will do something for me. I supported Alexander Cummings. I came back to what I do best. Not because I thought he would do something for me. I've never taken a dime for him. I had an opportunity to work with him here at the community level. Free service to our community. Which to date, he's still the highest donor to our community in the history since the organization was formed in 1979. And the highest donor to the ULA, to most of the community in this country. Okay, that was that. And based on his moral standard, for me, constantly have been married to his wife, no matter what Liberian people put it. I know majority of your leader in government are Ba, and that is their choice. Your sons like them, they're close to them, they travel with them, okay? And some of their girlfriend, they like it because they're giving them money, so they put their lives on the line for that. I ain't got no problem with people who like their how you call it, as an educator, they can live their life. Just don't bring it to me, okay? I'm fine with that. That man amputated a child hand who had resin on her hand at that hospital. The vice president knew about it. He was in a position to ask the medical board to do more investigation. He was performing surgery in that place where people lost their lives or lost their parts. Those issues have been out here in front of all of us, but we have refused to acknowledge because at one time, it behooves us, all of us who have a drop or semblance of conscience or hope for our children. It does not matter where we live. I don't know if my children will ever go to live to Liberia, but it is their choice. But my children have the choice. Good afternoon, Doc. My children have the choice to decide where they want to live. Most Liberian children do not. They don't have passport. Most of them don't even have birth certificate. Most of them don't even have the ability or the assets to good competitive school that is equitable, that they can compete, in other words. They don't. When I hear people say, you're protesting, send your children. No. My children don't go to bed hungry. My children don't live on $2 a day or less. My children don't live in abject poverty. My children live in a middle income home. My children have both parents who earned their living and earned their education and pay for it themselves. They don't. My 4 children still have their room set. Anytime they show up, they take their stuff to their room. The rooms. Some of them, the room that they transition from the next street is still their room. So no, my children will not come protest for you. Young people, you in this day and age, you are the most populated. You have the most to lose. And if the things that are happening in Liberia, if you dislike it, instead of becoming them, hating them to the point that you become them, because that's what hatred does. Okay? What hatred does is you become exactly what you hate. Yesterday, the people who were with me protesting, people who were with me were calling me back and forth. They're in the position today. The people who were saying we are here, people were partying to what they call it result, Jamaica result. They are the party animals today at where that place in Single. Where they place there in Single. Those are the party animals smoking cigar that they could not afford before and jumping up and down while Liberian children are dying. I hear this young Ghana boy, young Ghana man. He said we'll hold them accountable. I've seen the people of Tanzania, of Kenya, the young people of Nigeria, the young people of Ivory Coast, the young people of Burkina Faso shield and guarded the president. You know why? Not only is he young, he's a visionary. He has proven to them in 2 years, that he can help shape the future. So they're standing with him for their future. I see Liberian that parade all over. We want to be on the Security Council. What do you bring to the table? How would that impact Liberia? Your country was the most strategic country in the world during World War I, World War II. You have one, if not the largest army base, the fueling station of some of the greatest nation in the world at the time. You made them win the war, at least they said, but you have nothing. Even at the time, you still had 90% unemployment. At the time, your children still walk barefooted. At the time, during the breeding season, people still died from hunger because they were living off the land. At the time when your country was the producer of the largest rubber product in the world, the people were living in huts and were considered subhuman. When your iron ore were living with all the other minerals, the only job that you could provide for your country people mostly was housekeeping, houseboy, house girl, cooking, yard. You will not invest in them to become the engineers. You will not invest in them to become the data analysts. You will not invest in them to be the educators. You did not invest in them to become the innovators that they needed to be and be competitive. You did not get them to be in aeronautics or mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or civil engineering or structural engineering. No, you did not. Bioengineering, you did not. They will import their own people. When your country had all of the rubber, you were still forcing your population, okay? Your population, where is my charger? Y'all give me 1 second. To pay hot taxes. Okay, you are still forcing your population to pay hot taxes, and they didn't pay. You force them into slavery, either into Fananipo or into Firestone. So young people, we will talk more about this. Okay, when you are in any relationship, it should be mutually beneficial. When it's one-sided, then it's parasitic. You're being used. It does not matter the person tribe. It does not matter the complexion. It does not matter what part of the continent. So young people, we'll talk more to you. I think Peter is going to be here because Peter teaches young people. He takes them for no matter where they are. Make players out of them, send them out into the NBA, into college free based on their talent. So we're going to talk about it on Thursday. We're going to focus on young people. While young people, Lofa want to come in. Okay, Lofa, hold on. Let me send it to you. I'm sending it to you. I was about to get up. Just your old man, he hurt today. I was about to get up. Yep. So let me send it to you, Lofa. Let me send it to you. Lofa one. But Lofa, you can come in. You don't have the link anymore. Did I move you because you? Okay, folks. Anthony, every now and then you got to announce that we are on Radio Bluebird. Folks, we're on Radio Bluebird in Liberia. You will tell us what station it is. All right. Next week, Anthony will return to our giveaway. I want to do that. Next week, we'll do the giveaway. If I'm not here, I think I'm going to have Lofa sit in for me. I will talk to him and see what he does. So we're going to talk about that. Lofa, just Anthony give her at least 5 minutes. Let Lofa talk, then we'll go. Yeah, I beg you, Ume. And know you'll go. It's Saturday, so you can go hang out with your girlfriend then. You want us to do? No, come on, Senator. You just come in and give your. I will continue the series about young people. I'm going to do the young people on the whole. Then I want to do young women, and I will do young men speaking to them. Then we're going to do that. That's what we want to do on Saturday. Speak to the heart and minds of the young people. I sent you the link already, Lofa. It's in your stuff. Okay? So we need the young people to lead with boldness. You cannot become what you hate. The very people who were out here yesterday going against all the wrong that we are doing. Today, they're praising our president for where we are. They say he got $7,000 suit on. Designer. An old man. $7,000 suit on. I saw Kenya, majority leader the other day, and the people they play with in England wear red bottom shoes, a male. That's why the people don't respect y'all. That's why they don't respect our leaders. Y'all got your priority reversed. Okay? Y'all got your priority reversed. You can go sit on UN Security Council. You're still not being respected. They see your country. They know your country. Let me tell you something, Liberian people. Young people in Liberia, before our children get to 7th grade, they already know all the minerals that are beneath your earth that you walk on. They already know your GDP per capita. They already know how many rich people in your country. They already know how they got rich. They already know if you got inventors from your country, where they got their education. They already know how many of your leaders have died, what country they died in, and how corrupt they were. They know. They know. They have more information on you than your own leadership do. By the time they get to 7th grade, they know all the location of all your minerals. By the time they get to 8th grade, that's where we call literacy. When you can read, process, comprehend at 8th grade level, that's how the literacy of a nation is measured. Let's test ourselves. Folks, I'm going to call it a day. We're going to have a series on young people, and we're going to put in categories. Okay? I outline to you the people who led the Pan-African movement. They call it the independent movement of Africa. They were all young. Most of them in their 20s. The Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay? Jomo Kenyatta. He was the oldest. Patrice Lumumba. The Nnamdi Azikiwe, okay, Judah Nyerere, Nelson Mandela, early 20s, okay, those leaders. Mandela, in America, the Malcolm X, the King. But I will come back and say to you, we see people running up and down and say, we disrobe the man. The man, you know how many people here that died? That man, disrobing him should not even be something to talk about. Investigating all the hospitals that he worked at. investigating all the people that there were malpractice on his list. I just told a young child whose hand was cut off. She only had a little rice in her hand. He mistakenly cut off that child's hand. How people, kidney was extracted in the name of removing onions. And not only was he there, they also brought in people from Romania. I got recordings of victims and survivor family. More than a year ago, I chose not to play it because they were afraid that there would be reprisal, so they didn't want to come on. Also, I know from up the hill a lot more information, but it was not for me to come being bombastic with it. But we will focus. If all of these things that I outlined hurt you, have kept you a slave, kept you hungry, kept you disappointed, kept you hopeless, why would you want to just be that? I will call out names. Like somebody like what little boy name? When that little boy who house was ransacked from LU, who all help here, brought him on the show, helped him a lot. So he became minister. He had never picked up the phone to call me, not one day. Carlos Timba. Carlos now is a rich man in less than a year. But they are telling you, manage your expectation. Young people, let's talk. Lofa, next week, join me. Okay? Or you might have to sit in for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Happy weekend. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony, you got any closing statement?
Yeah. So thank you so much.
The internet is bad.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Can you announce the radio station? Can you announce the radio station, please?
Radio Bluebird 102.9.
Okay, send me a text of the radio station where FN it is so I can make the flyer. Okay? But the internet is bad. We'll talk later. Folks, thank you so much. And I'm gonna finish the thought process right here. I want you to listen to this. I will finish with this. Stupidity. What stupidity does. Okay? Let's go ahead and do.
Does not engage, it simply refuses to see. You can argue with a malicious person, but you cannot argue with a stupid one because they do not recognize facts. They dismiss them. They do not debate. They mock. And most dangerously, they are utterly convinced of their own rightness. This is what makes stupidity more dangerous than malice. Malice can be countered, but stupidity is impervious. Martin Luther King Jr. said something very similar. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. The most terrifying aspect of stupidity is that it often operates unconsciously. People who act foolishly do not even realize it. They believe they are right. They cling to their views with such certainty that no argument, no evidence, no rational explanation can shake them. Instead of questioning their beliefs, they double down, becoming even more rigid. As Mark Twain famously said, "Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience." We have all encountered different kinds of stupid people who use dismissive slogans whenever we try to engage with them. They say things like whatever or I don't care, their way of avoiding the reality of their own stupidity. It is frustrating, much like dealing with a narcissist, because they will never change. But the danger of stupidity extends beyond the individual level. It spreads within society like a sickness. It infiltrates groups, movements, and systems that demand obedience. The power of one depends on the stupidity of the many. This is why mass stupidity so often accompanies rising authoritarianism. People do not lose their intelligence. They surrender it. They give up their independence in exchange for belonging. They stop thinking critically.
Did you hear that? People do not lose their intelligence. They surrender it to belong. You hear that? They surrender it to belong. Okay? So they don't lose it. They just surrender it. All right? And let's do this. Let's continue for a second here.
And start repeating whatever they are told.
Yeah.
And once a person has surrendered their mind, there is no limit to what they can be made to do. They will commit evil and never see it as evil. They will spread lies and call it truth. They will destroy lives, convinced they are on the right side of history. This is why stupidity is not just frustrating, it is dangerous. It is a weapon in the hands of those who know how to use it. And perhaps the most chilling realization? You cannot fix it with reason. To combat it, we must first understand the true nature of stupidity. Stupidity does not question itself. It does not feel doubt or shame. It moves forward with absolute confidence, and in doing so, it becomes an unstoppable force in service of whatever it has chosen to follow. Bonhoeffer saw this firsthand. He lived in a nation once known for its poets and philosophers, Germany, the land of Goethe, Kant, and Beethoven. And yet he watched as it turned into a nation of cowards and criminals. He saw ordinary people, many of them intelligent and educated, surrender their ability to think and instead blindly follow the Nazi regime. This is why Bonhoeffer argued that stupidity is not an intellectual defect, but a moral one. A person can be brilliant in thought, yet utterly foolish in action. Consider Martin Heidegger, one of the greatest philosophers of the 20th century, who, despite his intellect, pledged loyalty to the Nazi Party and remained unrepentant until his death in 1976. He was smart, but he was also deeply stupid, as according to Bonhoeffer. By contrast, a person can be intellectually slow, yet profoundly wise, moral, and kind. Intelligence and wisdom are not the same. Stupidity, as Bonhoeffer saw it, is not a lack of intelligence. It is a failure of moral courage. And one is not born.
Stupidity is what? A failure of moral courage. Most just to belong, just to fit in, right? So I'm going to end with this, and I will end with this.
Stupid. One becomes stupid. How that happens is what I will discuss next. Stupidity is a state of mind that arises when a person surrenders their responsibility to think. It is not an inborn trait, but a transformation, a condition that people allow themselves to fall into. This transformation is not merely personal, it is social. Stupidity thrives in groups, where independent thought is discouraged, where people simply follow orders, conform, and submit to prevailing narratives without question.
We see that everywhere in Liberia. That's it. Let me go. Let me say to all of you, to all my sisters out there, to all you mothers out there, to men who mothers, nurture, father your children, happy Mother's Day. To the women who carry children in their heart that they didn't carry in their womb, thank you. It takes a special kind of person, a special kind of woman to allow a child to grow in their heart, and they carry them like fire. Thank you. You are the heroes that continue to shape this world, or Huron for that matter. And to you women who carry for 9 months, 5 months, and went through the grueling period, in that moment where everything and nothing mattered but that child. When every artery in your body, every vein in your body, when it felt like you will explode, when the pain were unbearable and you cannot describe it. You give everything to bring that child into the world. And not only did you stood with that child. You nurtured that child. You shaped that child to make decisions, find their own path, whatever path that they decide to choose. I want to say to all of you, Happy Mother's Day. Without you, there will be no continuous generation. Without you, the world will not evolve. It will stop existing. When God said, be fruitful and multiply. So let me say to you, enjoy your Mother's Day. For me, every day is Mother's Day to me when I look at my children. When they excel, when they have challenges, when they have tears, when they are stressed, even when they don't want to talk, it's Mother's Day. Or when they just want to jump in the bed and just lay down by mommy, or jumping between mommy and daddy. It don't matter how old they are. That's Mother's Day. Just seeing them walk in the door and going out, even when I force with them. But I carry them like fire in my heart. So to all of you, I celebrate you, our mothers of the word. By conception, or by allowing them to grow inside of you, in your heart, in your soul, in your mind. Our gift was given differently. So long you open up to a child, love them without condition, shape them, nurture them, give them hope. Happy Mother's Day. God bless.